This is really interesting, but also not really surprising because when we watch presidential debates, including the recent Democratic primary debates on NBC and CNN, respectively, the obvious realization that anyone who watches should come to if they're paying attention is that there are narratives that the networks are deliberately pushing. There are storylines that the networks and their moderators will just crowbar into the debates. And the networks are not playing sort of a bystander role of just facilitating the debate as moderators, as the term moderator would suggest. They're active participants. They're writing the storyline. And before the CNN debate, I believe it was, there were all sorts of teasers and promos on social media and on CNN's website about, will Beto confront Pete Buttigieg or vice versa about something? And it was just such a completely fabricated and bogus narrative suggesting that the big thing everyone's looking forward to is what's going to happen when Beto and Buttigieg square off. That was a totally fabricated narrative. Like, no one cared about that. But it was a storyline created by corporate media. And the network clearly goes in with a plan. This is not just CNN. To create confrontations. They set up candidates to respond directly to often inaccurately framed quotes from other candidates. They try to force disagreement. They try to get someone to attack somebody else. And it's so obvious and it's so brazen that it's actually pathetic if you understand what's going on. They reinforce the polling by giving the people who are leading more time to talk. And in a sense, I understand that, but it becomes very transparently sensational when you realize that they basically reinforce the polling in terms of speaking time, except if there's a storyline that they want to push that benefits from giving a lower polling candidate more airtime. For example, if a lower polling candidate goes in and is just aggressively attacking others, that's going to get them more speaking time than their polling might suggest because it's all sensationalized. Okay, that's the setup. So Andrew Yang was on the H3 podcast the other day and straight up said, it's even more rigged than we thought. And honestly, there's no reason to question this whatsoever because it makes perfect sense. It confirms what seems pretty obvious when you watch the debates. Take a look at this.
You know, one thing I'll share with you all is that some of the campaigns are in touch with the TV network ahead of time to talk about what sort of attack they want to level on the stage.
They're like, an attack on Biden around this question would play really well.
Or yes, the campaign says, hey, we're going to make this attack against Biden, and then the network goes, okay, like, we get it, and then they help create that opportunity.
What a nightmare. I mean, what a farce.
Yeah, it's quite a disaster. And I want to share with you the perspectives. Like, I think, like a lay person who happens to find himself on the presidential debate stage being like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what's happening? I'm not on this conference call.
Yeah, so this is just not surprising. I mean, how many problems are there with the debates that we've talked about? Problem number one, the format just doesn't let us learn anything about what the candidates really would do. Important policy questions are expected to be answered in 30 seconds, sometimes rebutted in 15 seconds. It's laughable. And the problem is, a lot of people can sound okay in 30 seconds, but really know nothing in depth. So it's actually a disservice to figuring out who knows what they're talking about. Second problem, there are too many candidates. That will get solved soon. That's not really CNN or NBC's fault. That's just a problem that's going to be solved soon. Problem number three, the debates are, as Andrew Yang is saying, rigged to set up candidates for attacks or kill shots at the expense of substantive debate. Number four, as you know, I've talked about, debates need to be public domain, okay? We're picking the president or who is going to run for president. These cannot be for-profit events to be monopolized by one network. This hurts us. As you know, we wanted to do commentary on the CNN debate. They shut us down on YouTube. They gave us a copyright strike. Their VP of who knows what was attacking me on Twitter. So that's bad. But it also allows the networks to turn it into a boxing match effectively rather than an important public service. And this is not just the networks. Obviously, the networks are going to do it, but the DNC, the RNC, the Commission on Presidential Debates, they could all say, we are not going to be complicit. We will insist on a format that is actually better for figuring out who knows what and their positions on issues. We are going to insist as a prerequisite that these be effectively public domain events like the State of the Union address. So yeah, the networks will do what's best for them and for ratings and for clips, and we know that. But the DNC, RNC, and Commission on Presidential Debates are also complicit in it, and that needs to change. So love that Andrew Yang is just saying it the way it is. Not surprising. It seemed pretty obvious just from watching the debates that this is what was going on. But be that as it is, this is what we're dealing with. And these are not events that really let us figure out who would be best at solving issues for the country, who is most knowledgeable in any sort of depth beyond one or two talking points on any of these issues. And it's been a complete disservice to the democratic process, as I've been telling you. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you've not already heard about Blinkist, it's amazing. It's an app for your phone, tablet, or web browser. And what they do is they take nonfiction books, popular nonfiction, critically acclaimed nonfiction. They condense the book into a 15-minute audiobook. You get all the most important information and insights from each book, but you can soak up the entire essence of the book in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. One recent one is Robert Reich's new book, The Common Good. Also Bunk by Kevin Young, useful in preparing me for the pseudoscience miniseries that we're producing. And if you are a David Pakman Show viewer or listener, you can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, use the link in the video description. After the free trial, if you like it, you can get the full access to thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.